longtime friend and colleague, JT the Brick.
Thank you, my good friend.
Good
Great to meet you.
morning.
Thanks for having me.
So, by the way, this is a guy who's been watching the show online for years up in Las Vegas. So when I say years, I mean since the very beginning.
Right.
And has been constantly giving me feedback and thoughts. So he's
No wonder he's been getting better.
Congratulations, the best.
You
You
know?
go back a long way. I'm really
know.
happy for you guys.
you got to tell Amber. I know the whole story. You're going to be blown away. JT, get us started living in San Diego as a caller to a radio show and how we got to where we are today.
I moved out to San Diego in the early 90s. I was a stockbroker. And my whole career was based in New York. I was a little burnt out in that business. I came out to San Diego and I was running out of time and I was running out of money. But I fell in love with calling sports talk radio shows. And I entered Jim Rome's first Smack Off, a caller contest, and I won the contest. If I didn't win that contest, I wouldn't be sitting here today on this couch with you. By winning that contest, I decided to go all in and get into sports talk radio. I got a small show in Pasadena, then I got another radio show right here in San Diego on KFMB, then I got syndicated. And then one night on the radio, this man called me in Miami, a program director by the name of Andrew Ashwood, and he said, I'm gonna send you my playbook. And it looked like an NFL playbook. He said, read this, it's the do's and don'ts of radio. Well, I read it, and that started a 10-year friendship with this man who became arguably my best friend, one of my best friends that I've ever had. And right at the pinnacle of his career, at the success, he was 49 years old. He looked like Grizzly Adams and John Candy, a big 300-pound man. He went on his wedding. He came back. He called me into his office, and he said, I have terminal cancer, and I want you to be my chemo partner. I want you to help me on this journey. Winning is the only option. He never thought about losing. And we went on this 13-month race to try to save his life. And he ended up losing that battle. But I wrote this book, The Handoff, because along the way he was my mentor and he handed off to me all of these incredible life lessons, like he handed them off to you also.
So you got to understand, this guy, Andrew Ashwood, that the book is about,
Right.
okay, was the guy who brought me into the sports talk radio business when I was 24 years old in Miami at this radio station,
Right.
was my mentor, was the guy who gave me my start,
Oh my
and
gosh.
and winds up coming out to LA where JT and I were colleagues at Fox Sports Radio, and I told the story yesterday on the radio. When I went to see him, because I knew it was going to be the last time I was ever going to see him, I walked into his office and I knew I had to be strong. I'm getting chills thinking about it. I knew I had to be strong because I knew he wasn't going to look well. And as soon as I sat down in his office and we started talking, I just blubbered and lost it. And like here he was dying and here I was crying.
Right.
But the book did not start out as a book just about Andrew. Tell Amber
It was
about
supposed to be about my career. It was about sports talk radio. I had a pretty good story about how I had this arc in my career and jumped out of one business into another. But then the hook to the book was, it's about friendship. This book, if I can send a message, it's about loyalty and friendship. It starts off with my life growing up in Long Island, New York, and all my friends. At an early age, I was gravitating to my friends. I wanted to be around guys. I was the only son. I had two sisters. Then in college, I was a fraternity president. I jumped into all these different businesses, but I always had my guys with me, my buddies. And Andrew became one of my guys. So the backstory of the book is how I got into radio, but it really pivots and it gets into the impact that this man had with me because he had such an important impact. Quick story. He got 2 tickets to the Rolling Stones. He lived in San Antonio. He couldn't go to the concert, so he FedExed me the tickets in Las Vegas. I got the tickets, I went to the concert and met my wife walking into the show. Talk about fate. If she was 5 feet behind me,
This man,
or 5 feet
seriously,
in front of
I
me,
mean,
because of this man, I met my wife, I have my
Right.
kids today, and I'm on the radio, similar to Scott. This was a guy who talked to both of us at times when we were high, when we were low, and just gave us a blueprint of how to get through the radio landscape, which has been pretty tough over the years just to stay in this business.
Explain the handoff. I mean, he was handing you off a career, handing off, I mean,
Great question. I was watching him go through chemo as he was fighting this battle, and at the end, when it didn't look like he was going to win, I noticed that he was handing off to me some life lessons. He was giving me some hints on how to conduct the rest of my life. And now I'm a dad and I have 2 young boys and I want to be a better husband and a better radio host and a better person, and I didn't really notice what he was doing at the time. So this book is really a legacy play for me. This is a book not about me. It's a book about a friend I'm paying it forward to. And I want to tell more people about this guy, Andrew Ashwood, in my life. And it's got great sports stories, and most of the book takes place in San Diego when I was a caller winning this contest and started my career here in town.
At any point in time, did you start writing the book when he was still alive, or
No,
was this all
it
afterwards?
was 4 years after he died. It took a long time to take this in
Sure.
and then write it with my co-author,
Sure.
Alan Eisenstadt.
But imagine this, that you start writing a book and you think it's going to be about this, and then you give it to a publisher and they go,
This book is
chapter,
about
this
him."
chapter about this guy Andrew, that's your whole book right there, right?
That was the hook, because I had a book that I thought was going to be about sports and my career, and then this woman in New York, this literary agent, said, "You got a great story, but you're not going to sell a book." She goes, "Tell me about this chapter about this guy Andrew. That's a book." And then she connected me with the co-author, and we wrote the book. It was the most emotional project I've ever worked on, from beginning, middle, and this book's never going to end. This is not a holiday book. It's not a summer book. This is a book that I think is going to be around, and it's going to change lives for the positive.
Well, it's called The Handoff. It's available on Amazon. I would tell you that it would be available at Warwick's in La Jolla, but I think every book was sold out last night. JT, congratulations.
Yeah, no kidding.
I am.
Congrats.
I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to really read this book. I'm trying to figure out
With
how.
a box of tissues.
You got to understand, it's going to be emotional for people who've never met this
Right.
guy. This was as much as he was JT's mentor and best friend, he was the guy who brought me into the business.
Yeah.
And for that, I'll, I guess, be forever indebted.
I'm real happy for you guys. You got a great show. Thanks for having
Thank
me.
you.
JT, congratulations. Just really quick, we got about 10 seconds. Where's the book tour go from here?
Book tour goes to Oakland, San Francisco. We're going to San Antonio. We're going to Milwaukee. We're going to Seattle in a week. So I'm on tour for 3
You're
more
all
weeks. I'm
over.
really excited.
And then the NFL season starts, and you'll hear JT on Fox Sports Radio at night. And you'll also be, if you're a Raiders fan, you'll be watching him as part of the Raiders broadcast team.
Always
so.
come and tailgate with
No.
you for the Chargers
That's right.
and the Raiders. It's going to be a tough year maybe for both teams.
Yes,
Maybe.
it will be.